What up, boys? What up, boys?
What's going on, Johnny?
Back in the lion's den.
What up?
Yeah.
Surviving the Christmas holiday.
Did y'all survive? Are we really surviving?
I don't know, brother. Whew, I wish I was thriving during Christmas, but we'd be
Depends on who you ask.
surviving.
Depends on who you ask.
Still alive, still alive.
Like that.
I mean,
like
we
that.
did a podcast, years ago about we buy all the gifts and Santa gets all the credit. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Yep.
That shit gets more and more real the older you get, don't it?
Oh,
Boy, that's
yeah.
the truth.
I mean, damn. I can't even get no damn milk and cookies this time. You know what I'm saying?
Right? I'm telling you.
Like shit.
I'm just glad I got only one that still believes.
You still, at my stage, you're still buying the gifts, but you don't get the milk and cookies. You know what I'm saying? No milk and cookies with no nookies.
Milk and cookies be a better deal.
No appreciation, only depreciation.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Oh, that's a good
shit.
one.
Shit, Santa don't need no cookies. When the wife looks at the kids and goes, Santa really don't need any cookies this year. Santa's cutting back.
Santa
Don't be
needs,
talking for Santa.
Santa needs more carrots for like Rudolph does.
Yeah.
Oh,
They got damn pixie dust. They don't need no damn carrots. Get them chocolate chip cookies out
Hell
here.
no.
better bring the good stuff. You want the good stuff? You better bring the good stuff.
I got to say, though, guys, Thanksgiving special was off the hook. If you didn't hear that,
Oh, man.
you missed it.
With a little quick flashback. I hope that this holiday was better for Mike's family. They didn't have anybody back in the gambling rehabs.
Nobody
no
lost their house or anything like that.
No poker night at the Ames for Christmas.
I'm trying to remember what I said.
You said you had an old uncle over there throwing his wedding band
my
in the
uncle.
pot.
Okay, my uncle.
The
Okay.
AC Doocy gone south.
I was going to say gambling's a problem in my family, so I don't know which
Yeah.
one I was talking about.
The one that was married to your cousin and it didn't matter because the ring was staying in the family.
AC Abusey.
Yeah.
Happy birthday, Uncle Dad.
I don't care.
Speaking of family, the ancestry, man. We were just talking about that beforehand. Like
Ancestry?
Ancestry.com.
Ancestry.com. That's what they call it in Maine.
Never done that
Ancestry.com.
website.
That's for Maine.
Is that a Freudian
Connecticut.
slip there, Mike? A Freudian slip?
Did I really say that?
Ancestry.com.
No,
That might be popular in Maine. You know.
That's true.
Isn't that what he said, Ray?
Something just happened in Maine and made me upset, but I'm not gonna get into politics on that one today.
Looks like a pine tree forest. Everything just goes straight up.
Except for that ugly tree. It's got a bunch of branches in that family. They hit every damn one of them on the way down. Bop, 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 bop.
Where I was going with this is just when it comes to with family coming to town, I've always wanted to sit down with my family and actually say, all right, who's my great-grandfather? Because I never met him. Who's my great-great-grandfather? And start going through it because my kids will want to ask questions soon. So that's why I brought it up.
They're only going to ask at Christmas about those people if they're going to be giving them a gift.
You're not wrong.
Are they still alive?
They're dead.
They don't care about old
gifts.
great-great-great-grandpappy.
Yeah.
Because he ain't bringing no gifts to Christmas this year.
Well, Walmart closes early, you know.
Me old pappy.
They're not 24/7 anymore.
Good night.
You can add them to the Christmas prayer, when you're sitting around the table, around that bucket of KFC.
That is Japan.
Sipping on that
I learned that one.
That old,
Japan does
that old
KFC.
Schlitz you guys drink up there in Maine. Schlitz malt liquor.
No, it's
a bucket of
it's coffee
bucket of
brandy.
original recipe.
It's coffee brandy.
Coffee
It's
brandy.
the number one thing. That they sell
I
in
tell you
Maine
what
right
I
now.
enjoyed, man. At your Christmas party, man, somebody brought some Mexican food, some Spanish food. That was good.
Oh, what kind of food was that? I didn't know what kind of food that was.
What was it? Empanadas? Somebody brought some
Oh,
empanadas.
it was Puerto
those
Rican
were
food,
good.
empanadas.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah,
good. I
man.
was worried it was the other food that was brought to John's party.
Oh yeah, we don't talk about that.
Taco Hell.
He couldn't wait. He couldn't wait to come get me and say, "What's up with the Taco Bell in your house?" I said, "I didn't bring that shit.
I didn't bring it to my house.
I know.
I sent it all. I sent it off
I
the door.
thought
of
you
my
quit
daughter's
them woke
boyfriend.
some bitches.
Yeah, I don't play that game.
But
Devil's
that was
tacos were rotten on my counter.
It
They
had
actually
no,
built one right across from Chick-fil-A,
it had
right
no
next to John's
monsters,
house.
no Taco Bell.
Yeah,
good. And the rice
Just to
and
drive
beans.
by it every day.
They had the rice and
rice
beans.
and beans. Yeah, we
That was
get
really
that from a
good.
local
really good.
supermarket here that does that.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
Spanish supermarket. So yeah, a little pork, a little black beans and rice. A little something empanadas.
Oh yeah,
I
that's
always
Yeah,
look
we're a little
forward to your
festive,
party.
Feliz Navidad.
Black beans and rice.
Feliz Navidad.
Always look forward to those parties, John.
Yeah,
Those
well,
are the best.
and we look forward to having you.
He says Ford Navigator.
Ford Navigator, yeah.
Merry Christmas, Ford Navigator.
Something like that,
And the joke gift,
Like a Ford Navigator.
and the good news is the joke gift stayed somewhat close to the where the location
Well,
is.
I can tell you right now, I've already been told that gift will not come.
Oh,
What?
The RuPaul Chia
Whoa.
Pet
Come on.
is officially
That
getting
was
burnt this
that
year.
is a joke.
Why is
That
that?
was year 4.
Somebody
baby.
done got their feelings hurt.
Oh, I know who it was. I'm not gonna say names here, but I'm a little upset right now.
Were they chasing
Weak
the Christmas
generation.
Were they chasing the Christmas spirit
They
and
just
got
felt-
stuck with that?
They felt like the man had copped out of paying the $25 for a gift is what they felt like.
Oh, come
I
on.
think a
man.
lot of
Oh, is it? Everybody said this.
I did it.
Okay.
And the whole party said,
Wait a minute.
Who brought the Chia Pet? I said, that was Mike. It's about 5 years
I got
old.
it from Ray.
I did it too.
I got it from Ray.
Yeah, but when Ray originally brought it, he
Oh.
bought it.
them youngins.
No, he didn't. He got it from
Shut up,
someone
Ray.
else.
You're ruining the whole thing.
I think a lot of them youngins they don't follow
of
the
cowards.
$25
Bunch of
things. You know,
babies.
that
Yeah.
poor Santa. He ended up with a
So-
piece of
so-
POS.
the whole spirit
My
of
poor
that
wife
game.
had to. Shut up, Ray. I'm talking.
Yeah, shut up, Ray. Shit, learn to shut your mouth. Go ahead,
Gosh,
Freddie.
dang.
Got a lot
is
to
over.
say.
You think you're co-host or something?
Go ahead, Freddie. Go ahead. What happened?
I almost F-bombed right there.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Woo, Freddie's been on
Come
a break.
on,
It's been a
Fritz.
while.
We need
Come
that.
on,
We
man.
need that, Freddie.
It's a 12-year-old barrel-aged Patron.
What happened with Santa?
Huh?
What happened with Santa?
Santa ended up with some little plaque. It had to have cost at least $6.
Is that the one my wife stole?
Yes.
Yeah, thank you very
your
much.
Wife took
the
pity
elf,
on
the elf.
on
No, she didn't take
Santa.
pity. She wanted it.
Well,
It had
okay.
elf on it.
All right. I
It had elf on it.
I
And then
believe that.
Then there's the women's rationale, right? Dudes are like, dude, what the hell? That cost $6, right? The women's like, oh, somebody bought that with candy in mind. They know that she just loves the elf.
Yeah, I'm calling BS on that
Yeah.
one.
But you know what though? Nobody ever leaves empty-handed.
No.
Nope. It's always a great party, no matter what.
Yes, sir.
And now no more RuPaul.
No RuPaul. Mike ruined it.
There you go.
You could have put a gift card in with it or something. Put
No.
forth some sort of an effort. I think Ray put like a $15 gift card with his.
It was nothing.
25.
Oh, is
I
it
got it.
25?
No, we're not
25.
playing that.
Oh, you didn't get that $25 gift
No,
card I had with it?
No.
Oh, you missed out, bro.
You must have
You're
thrown it in
making
the
it up now.
garbage, kid.
You're making me
Man.
look bad. Now stop.
Man.
I got the $25 gift
Listen.
card. I traded
See?
the glasses for it.
Yeah. I mean, Mike, you're cheap, okay? Big deal. Get over it.
The birds are always gossiping about you. Cheap, cheap.
So much fun.
Oh,
He didn't even wrap his own gift either. He had his wife wrap it for him.
of course.
That's her job.
Don't we all?
Punk.
She loves that stuff.
No, get a bag. Stuff it in there with some freaking
Toilet paper.
tissue paper, you know?
Then they know it's me.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
That's all right.
Signature bag.
Oh, man.
You know, it's funny we're having this conversation because I was having a little heartfelt conversation with my brother earlier today. We're talking about Christmas.
Yeah.
And, you know, as you guys know, he just had a little one. His son's only about a year and a half now. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So this is kind of his first Christmas, you know, and he was talking about how excited he was and get these presents. He said, John, that kid could care less
Yep.
about any of those gifts. Didn't want to open up the presents, wasn't into it. He was just like, eh. And I said, we had a really good conversation, which I want to kind of segue into tonight about this Christmas holiday or Christmas in general. He said, I said to him, that's because the kid's at a state where he doesn't want anything and he doesn't need anything.
Right.
He's got food in his stomach, clothes on his back, a roof over his head, parents that love him. He's 1.5 years old. He don't care about that shit.
Yeah.
Right? The problem that the majority of us face, with the exception of Mike, he's got one that's still little out of the four of us here, is that our kids are past it. You
Right.
know? And my wife and I were talking about this. It's like we keep trying to chase this Christmas magic, like this feeling, this emotion of Christmas. And as my brother and I were talking, I had a conversation with you this week,
Yep.
Ray, about it too. It's like, I think that lives in the innocence of the hearts of children.
Right.
And I think as adults, we chase it for the rest of our lives.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know about you guys, but I'm of the mindset that it happens. There's 3 phases we go through, right? We first get it when we're kids ourselves, right? When we're young, that magic, that mystique, the wonder, the awe, the colors, the lights. It's just mesmerizing. And then we go through that period of time in our life when all of a sudden we just, we're not worried about Santa or elves or reindeer anymore. we're more focused on bills and
The reality of it.
the reality,
Not
of
the
it,
magic of it.
not the magic of it.
We're,
And
we're creating the magic nowadays.
we're fabricating the magic,
We're fabricating it. Yeah, exactly.
and that's what we were talking about.
Right. And we're still chasing it, and it's never ending. It's a fleeting, feeling.
Well, if I don't know about you guys, but sometimes you just feel just empty, like you've missed it.
No, I mean, I can speak to it not knowing Jesus beforehand. Like before, with me, it was more about the gifts. I didn't even know what the heck the season was about, and people were trying to throw it down my throat about Jesus' birth. I'm like, but I got presents, so
Right.
okay. But I mean, that's where my kids. That's what I'm trying to teach my kids what it's all about. Like, it's all about jokingly say it all the time. Everybody says it, the reason for the season. But I can see how people can be upset about that situation. I don't know. Maybe I'm off.
No, I just think we talk it, but we don't live it.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like I told my brother. I said, we create the monster,
Mm-hmm.
the little consumer,
Yeah.
Yep.
the expectations, the self entitlement. I think it all goes out the door when you start with the infamous Christmas list.
Yeah.
Like, write down everything you want. And I look back when my kids were young, and I can remember times that they struggled putting something on a piece of paper.
Yeah.
And it was like, we're almost like, you don't want anything? What do you want for Christmas? And I was talking about it with him, and I was like, you know what it is? It's like when we were coming up, it was about the gift. And now it's about the gifts.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yep.
Like, that's why I love that movie, The Christmas Story.
Mm-hmm.
You got this kid, he wants a Red Ryder BB gun, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's his total fixation. That's all he cares about is he don't care if he gets anything else. He doesn't care about the stocking. He doesn't care about any of these any presents. He wants that one special gift,
Yep.
right? And we've lost that.
Yep.
We've lost that in our culture today because it ain't about that one special gift anymore. It's about how many gifts do I get? How much do the gifts cost?
Yep.
Am I getting more than Mike? Is Mike getting more than me?
Mm-hmm.
How big is my pile? Is my gift big? Is it small? You see what I'm saying? And,
Oh, yeah,
and we
100%.
and then we do we got little Johnny 10 gifts, so we got to get little Sally 10 gifts, and then we spent $100 on Jimmy, so we got to spend $100 on Sally, and we've lost what it is, because think about it. When you were a kid and you wanted that bike, or you wanted that gun, or you wanted that, BB gun, or you wanted that football, whatever it may be, the cost never even crossed your mind.
Nope.
You didn't even know what it really cost.
Right.
That was not even. You look at like that movie, for instance. The kid never mentions what it costs for that rifle. It never talks about the cost of the rifle, the availability of the rifle.
Right.
None of that. Right.
Right.
But kids today, they know what things cost,
Mm-hmm. True.
and that's part of the equation.
Yeah.
And who's created that?
Us. Society.
Yeah.
I mean,
Commercialism.
I told. I think Ray does it probably the best. 5 gifts, right? Is it 5?
Yeah.
5 gifts a kid. This is what it is. And I was talking to my wife the other day. I said, I really wish that we had instituted something like that with our kids. Not that my kids are greedy, because they're not. They're not even about that.
Right.
But you find yourself, you're like, you're wanting to put gifts under a tree so you can watch them open them.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Well, after a while, man, it's just they open one and then another one and another one, and they're just stacking piles.
Right.
They don't even care about the gift they're opening. They're thinking about the next one that's coming up afterwards.
Right.
And so we just create this beast, this consumer that just suck it all in. Like, how many more can I get? How many more can I get?
Yeah. And another thing with the 5 gifts thing is that kind of eliminates that the want for more and more expensive and so on and so forth. So it doesn't become about what you're getting, because we've always tried to push the focus on family. Being with family, gathering with family, and the time spent with them.
Yep.
And like this year it was great because everybody got up, we all ate breakfast, we hung out and talked for a little while we were eating breakfast. Then we decided to sit down and open the gifts. I mean, the kids, nobody was, they're 19 and 16, so none of them were like, oh, gifts, oh, gotta get. No, we all ate breakfast. We sat down and just had a good conversation. Then we were up for an hour and a half or so before we even went, okay, let's go do the gifts now.
Which is cool, but the other part of it, the anticipation part's cool too, right? The excitement.
Yeah. Oh,
And
yeah.
that's what you miss when you had littles and they're bigger now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I experienced that one, and then I think what happened was I saw my dad sent me a video of me as a kid, and I was like, wow, this is this is exactly where my daughter got it from. Like the whole, this gift's done, throw it away, and now what's the next one? And that used to be me, and I was like, I was watching it angry, and I was like, just
at yourself,
at myself, absolutely. And what happened, and like how did it become this way? And then how is it still this way?
Well, it's this weird dynamic, right?
Yep.
Because when I look back at Christmas, it was always a magical time of the year for me because it represented something the opposite of what I was living. It represented light instead of darkness.
Right.
You know, so like I was telling a friend of mine the other day, you never knew what you were going to get for Christmas in my house. You didn't know whether there was going to be a tree. If there was a tree, was there going to be lights on it? If there were lights on it, were you even going to decorate it? Were there going to be presents under the tree? If there was presents under the tree, were they going to be wrapped?
Right.
You know, it was always, depending on what kind of mood my mother was in or the situation, because, hey, she's raising 5 kids on welfare and a housing project. She didn't have a lot of money to buy anything with.
Right.
It's not that people on welfare have huge disposable incomes. And so, you just never knew. It was a crapshoot.
Mm-hmm.
But the part that was important that kind of resonated for me was always family.
Mm-hmm.
And it was always, just the lights.
Right.
Which I've been blessed with my wife. She's all about that. And in a lot of ways, I'm like that because it has a meaning for me that brings me back to a place. And the reality of it's the place isn't even real. It's an imaginary place that I created within myself
Right.
that I take myself back to that never ever existed in the first place.
Right.
It's like because you're trying to chase this thing that's just not real.
Right.
Yep.
You're trying to chase this mystique and this magic that's just not there.
Mm-hmm. And as you get older, you've got to learn to find that peace and that joy within yourself. Because if you can't find it within yourself, there ain't a damn thing out there that's going to give it to you. It might for just a split second for a little bit, but then 20 minutes later, what's the next one?
Mm-hmm.
What's the next thing? You've got to find that peace and that joy, that magic within yourself, that contentment, because you're just going to beat yourself to death during the season if you don't.
Well, ask yourself this question. What's worse? Being a non-Christian, buying into the secular belief of Christmas and materialism and consumerism, or being a Christian buying into the secular belief of materialism and consumerism?
I know which one I picked.
I mean, you can sit there and say, we know that Jesus is the reason for the season, but if you're living and you're walking it out in the other way, what's worse?
Yep.
Because we're creating that environment in our own homes, and we know better.
Yeah.
Yep.
We know that Jesus is supposed to be the reason of the season, but we don't. We turn it into the gifts and into Santa Claus and into elves with the elf on the shelf or the Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer. And listen, there's nothing wrong with all those things, but I'm just saying that, it's frustrating as a Christian because I even see it within myself that the hypocrisy that we have, that we want to snub out our nose at the world like, well, they're all consumers and all they care about is gifts and this and that. Well, so do Christians.
Yeah.
So do people that call themselves Christians. They're doing the same exact thing. They're living the same exact way. And there are millions of Christian homes this year that got up and their kids had more presents than they knew what to do with.
Right.
And the kids had no regard or no respect for any of them because they had so many of them they couldn't even tell you what they got.
Right.
Yep.
But we had to get them.
Yeah.
Because if we didn't, we're not good parents. And Santa Claus don't love our children.
But it's worth going into debt for it, John, and just so you can see your child
Think
open
about
up
that.
presents.
If we don't overwhelm our children with gifts, Santa don't love them. And we don't want people thinking Santa doesn't love our Santa. That's not real. We're worried about whether people think Santa loves our children.
Yeah.
What the hell are we doing? Like, I mean, think about it. We're trying to impress the Joneses with a make-believe. Person that's not. What the hell?
And I think that's great. And I think the positiveness of what we were doing, and we're getting better-ish. It's a fight. It's a battle. So, but anyway, so when it comes to what we're doing, we always try to make it about Jesus and everything like that. And then we try to not have too many presents from Santa, just to make it so like it is what it is. But it's most of the stuff is from parents that love you. But if you think about it, we give them stuff all year round. What's the difference?
Well, the difference is that if you say that the reason for this season is Jesus and you're showering with gifts, it's not about Jesus anymore. It's about you.
Correct. Selfish.
I'm just going to tell you straight up.
Yeah,
I mean,
100%, dude. I agree with you.
You can take Santa out of the equation, and then you put your name on the gift, but guess what? It don't matter. They're still not learning about the value of Christ. They're learning about the value of gifts.
Right.
And we can tell ourselves whatever we want. Right. And I'm guilty of it. I've been guilty of it, okay? We can tell ourselves whatever bullshit we want to tell ourselves, but we are feeding this beast.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And we're making excuses to do it. Now, one of the things we did talk about, and I think it's important, I think that it's a great time of the year to use gifts to show appreciation for people that you love.
Yes.
Right.
Now, when I say that, what I mean is it's not about impressing people. It's not about guilting people. It's about, and we talked about this, right? It's like me saying, okay, and I talked this with my brother too as well. I'm like, so like my brother's an artist, right? At this time of the year, this is the time of the year that I honor you with the fact that I know that you're an artist, so I'm going to get you a art set for Christmas, right?
Right.
Because I know that that's who you are, that's what you're about, that's your passion, that's your love, right?
Right.
So, it's a good time for the year to do that because God did give us a gift in Christ.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
He gave it to the world, right? He didn't just give it to Christians. So anybody that's listening to this needs to recognize and understand it. It says in our word, the Holy Bible, it's not John, says God so loved the world.
Right.
That's everything and everyone in it, that he gave his one and only son, the greatest gift, right?
Yep.
So everybody in the world. So I think if it's on the mindset of you're giving gifts to people that are genuine and from the heart and that have emotion and feeling behind them, that's awesome. If you're doing it to check people off of a list so you feel good about yourself or you're afraid you're hurting somebody's feelings, you are in the wrong frame of mind.
Yep.
Right. Exactly.
True.
And the other part of it is that it is about people.
Mm-hmm.
It's about people you care about and about people you love. It always blows my mind that we, as a culture, will be so willing to give to the homeless at Christmas, but we'll walk by them any other day of the week.
Right.
Yep.
We'll hand out turkeys on Thanksgiving while families are starving during the rest of the year.
Yeah.
That's how you feel, John. I feel good about what I just did.
Yeah, it's like, so one meal, one day of presents is going to change their life. They're going to change their world.
I hope they can make it the other 364.
Hey,
Yeah.
I grew up on Welfare and Housing Project. Christmas for Kids, Toys for Tots, Angel Tree, all of them came to my house. You know what? Those gifts didn't change anything for me.
Right.
It didn't change the environment that I was in. It didn't change the circumstances I was living. It didn't change the family dynamic that I was in.
Right.
Those things didn't change.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was one good day.
Yeah.
I got news for you. There's 365 days in a year.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
So I'm glad you bring it up because actually this is what was said by, my wife, we were talking about it and she's like, I really want to bless the family that I dealt with in the hospital. She works as a nurse and the mom just had surgery, really bad surgery, and they couldn't get anything up for Christmas. There was hardly any presents under the tree. So she asked, she goes, what can we do for you? And and then Marty's like, you okay if we do this? And I said, yeah, do it. Because that's what it's about.
Yeah.
But I'm glad you bring that up, John, because you said the same thing about you and I talked about it with the husband and wife. Like that should be, it's great we give the kids stuff, but as you get older, the focus should be on your wife. It should be on.
well, God tells us that he's number one, she's number two.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I've been guilty of it. And listen, everything that I say, it's a self-reflection, right? I'm talking not only to the people that are listening, but I'm talking to myself, right?
You learn from examples.
How many years did and don't get me wrong, I've always spent money on my wife. I've always bought her gifts. But was she the very focal point, my very focal point, or was it the kids?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And in marriage, she's supposed to be number one for me, not my children. They're a byproduct of our love and our relationship, right? And so, sometimes as I'm getting older and our kids are older now, I'm stepping back and realizing, man, there's been a few things that I probably missed the boat on here. Like my focus has been off,
Right.
And, I think that.
I think too, Johnny, a lot of parents become displaced because once their kids get old enough to not participate in the magic, so to speak, they're like, well, what do we do now?
Oh, and I'm there. And it's funny, my daughter's 21, and even she realizes it's gone. So we were talking about, like, we tried to do things this year, like movie night at the house, going and seeing the lights. But at the end of the day, it's like you're trying to fabricate something that's not there. It's not real. Because it's something that comes from the inside of you, not the external of what's around you, right?
Right.
And we lose sight a lot of times of the fact that it's about people. It's always about people. Christmas isn't Christmas without people.
Right.
And just real quickly, I don't want to say real quickly because we're pressing up against time, but the other part of it too is there's a lot of people out there right now that are guilted into being put in environments with family members that quite honestly treat them like shit during the holidays.
Right.
And they keep going back and being a part of this dysfunction because they feel like it's an automatic, like you have to.
Right.
Like it's an expectation or that's the right thing to do. But at the end of the day, you should surround yourself with people who love you and appreciate you and want to be around you.
Right. It's tradition.
Yeah, it's true. So you're traditionally treated like shit.
Well, that's it exactly. And sometimes you have you got to step up and start your own traditions, because the problem with change is people won't change until the fear of change is less than the uncomfortable situation they're in.
Right.
So they'll keep going and being treated like shit every year, afraid that well, what if we don't see him again? Or what if we don't, what if something happens? Or what if this? Or what if that? Sometimes you just got to start your own traditions, Doesn't mean neglect them. Call them, talk to them, go see them, just out of the blue. Doesn't have to be in that situation where you've got 5 families crammed into one house where everybody's uncomfortable, but it's tradition. You don't need to do that. You can change it.
Sometimes you got to give them a chance to miss you a little bit.
Yeah.
Maybe they don't appreciate you. Maybe the fact that they know you're always going to be there maybe dictates how they're going to treat you.
And if it doesn't affect them, then your presence didn't matter to them.
Yeah.
Period. I mean, if you disappear for a couple years and nothing changes and nobody cares, well, then your presence didn't matter to them that much in it.
Surround yourself with people that it does.
Yeah, so that's when you start your own traditions.
So I guess at the end of the day, when we're sitting here talking about this Christmas magic, I think if we're going to pull back the onion and really take a really hard look, is that the only place that really exists is within you. There's like 3 phases in our lives for this. We were talking about it earlier. When you're a child, the innocence of a child, the anticipation, the expectation, the mystical, the magical, the unknown. It's just wonderful. And then something happens called life. And then you become more mature or more aware. Well, what happens is you become hard, and you allow the surroundings of everything in life and people and everything of that nature to kind of pull a veil over your eyes and not allow you to see what you once saw as a child. And then guess what? You find yourself longing and missing something that sometimes only comes around once in a lifetime. Now, for some of us, we get that second phase. And that second phase is when we have children of our own. And we get to see and experience that magic in and through them. And it brings us back to that place where everything is just pure. It's like I said earlier, that living in a life of darkness and all of a sudden having that light come into your life. And for a lot of people, that is Christmas. It's that light. It's that cheeriness. It's the beauty. It's the essence, right? But the magic lives in the hearts of children because that's where the innocence is. And so as parents, we get to kind of vicariously live through the eyes of our children once again. And it's exciting and it's fun and we can become enamored. And that's what happens to a lot of us and a lot of you that are listening. We get so consumed by it. We want it so desperately that's why we buy so many gifts and we go so over the top because we want to make it so memorable and magical. And then your children, sooner or later, they get older. And all of a sudden, that magic dissipates in them and it's not the same anymore. And you're trying to find things through tradition and through activities and through experiences, and you're trying to replicate this magic. And I believe the only other time you get it again is in that third phase, and that's when you're grandparents. And you get to see it again where? in the hearts of children, because that's where the innocence lies. That's where the magic of Christmas lives, is in the minds and the hearts of children. What we can do, though, as adults, is we can understand that, and understand that, you know what, it's not about that for us as we get older. It's more about relationships. It's more about people. Surrounding yourselves with people that love you and appreciate you. Somebody that wants to give you a gift because they love you and know you, not somebody that feels obligated. I've said on this podcast before, and I'll say it again before we close, I would rather you hate me than pity me. Don't give me a gift because you feel like you have to. Only do because you want to. Because when you do that, my friends, well, that's where the rubber meets the road.